Hey folks, Randy Newberg here with another episode of Leupold's Hunt Talk Radio. We are in Big Sky, Montana. Man, is it beautiful today. What are we doing under a tent telling hunting stories? I am here with three really cool guys, and I know this one's going to sound like a Montana podcast, and it's not necessarily meant to be that way. It's just these were the coolest guys I could find on the mountain today. So I said, what do you say we put the headphones on and let's go do this? And with me today is, what would I call you guys? Team onX, or are you guys just onX?
onX.
All right.
Yep.
So Eric, the founder and CEO of onX, and Matt, the hunt product manager. Is that what I can call you?
Yeah. That sounds good.
Wyoming whitetail slayer. Matt and I were in Wyoming last year, and he poleaxed a Wyoming whitetail.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the episode.
Yeah, I got a draft for you to look at. And then Jason, I'm trying to think of what name we should give him. Jason Bighorn Sheep Matzinger from Into High Country. And we will get into that later, Jason. I don't want to cut you too much grief.
Oh, I can't wait.
Give it away too soon. All the complaining that's going to come.
But Jason and I, we've been, I don't know how long you've been doing this, Jason. I think we started the same year, didn't we?
We did. Same year, same quarter, everything.
Yeah, everything. And then we kind of started working with Eric and Matt at onX about the same time. And we've been, I don't know how long we've been doing this.
6 years, I think. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, we've only been going
2011, yeah.
Yep.
You guys have been in it for
8 years, yep.
Okay.
2009.
Do you know how many animals have been harvested thanks to you guys?
A lot of mine.
I haven't thought of that, yeah.
There is a person who, and I don't want to rat anybody out, but I was at an event and someone came to me and said, hey, this guy over there, he said that onXmaps has ruined hunting. I'm like, what does he mean? Well, no one ever used to know how to get to these places. Like, ruin it? That sounds like a pretty good path of progress to me. But
some of these people used to not know if they were trespassing or not, and everything that comes with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, but anyhow, we're going to get into some really cool stuff about new things you guys got going on, about how Jason can assure everybody how you can draw a bighorn sheep tag in Montana. Yeah, he's going to let the cat out of the bag on that one, and I'm just going to be here and take notes because I'm like the below average guy of the crowd here. And when we're all done, I'm pretty sure the audience is going to be fully informed about a lot of things that they've been dying to know. I mean, it's like the Paul Harvey thing. Now for the rest of the story.
Perfect.
All right. So anyhow, before we do this, we got to talk about the great companies that make this podcast possible. Leupold Optics. They sponsor everything we do, and they are so supportive of the public land self-guided hunter. Just really grateful to have them be the title sponsor. And if you hear some noise in the background, we are at the Big Sky Ski Resort, and there's a zip line going over the top of us every once in a while. I'm waiting for somebody to fall off that thing, and I'm not qualified to be the first responder if they fall off there, but I don't know. These people got a death wish or something. I mean, they come screaming down that hill there at like Mach 2.
You haven't done that yet?
I wouldn't do that. There's not enough love or money to get me to do that. Have you guys?
What
done
if there was Dairy Queen at the end?
Well, then now we're talking. I'll get out on thin ice for that. But anyhow, if you hear a little wind, folks, we are on a mountain, or if you hear a little noise, it's because we're at the ski resort. So please hang with us. The other sponsors of this podcast are Orion Coolers. If you go to orioncoolers.com, really, really cool, great coolers. Use promo code Randy. They have a tumbler that has the Hunt Talk logo on it, and you're going to get one if you buy a cooler and use promo code Randy, R-A-N-D-Y. And you're going to have a really cool cooler, and then you're going to have this tumbler that you can use for I don't care what you use it for, hot soup, beer, whiskey, water, it doesn't matter to me. OrionCoolers.com. GoHunt.com, a lot of you ask, well, and Jason, I mean, he's the exception to the rule of how you draw tags. We got to do it the traditional way, and we use GoHunt.com as a really good research tool. Helps in... Right now, they have a new filter about over-the-counter units, about public versus private land in that unit, all kinds of things. So Again, use promo code RANDY, RANDY, and when you sign up for their insider service, they're going to give you $50 of free store credit at their gear shop. So there you go. You got $50 coming your way if you do that. And I've saved the onX advertisement. You guys want me to do
what?
Oh, all right. Anyhow, this podcast is also brought to you by these great guys sitting to my right. If you use promo code Randy, you see how easy we've made that for everybody? RANDY. And you're going to get 20% off the app products if you use promo code Randy. And that's a really generous thing for you guys to do for our audience. I hope that some of them are doing it.
They have been, yes.
Good.
Yep.
Well, that's good to hear.
We just want to get it in people's hands so they can be successful.
Yeah. So, Eric, I'm going to put you on the spot right away. You said something about if you can't get there, you can't conserve it, or if you can't get there, you
can't conserve
what you can't
unless you can't get it. Yeah, you can't conserve them unless you can get to them.
There you go.
Can't conserve them.
If you want to talk about a group that supports conservation, it's onXmaps. And go to onXmaps.com, use promo code Randy, and get you some. Because by the time we are done with this podcast and they hear all the new layers coming out, you guys, I hope your servers are ready to handle this flood of traffic.
When people listen to this podcast, everything will be new.
Yeah.
Website,
this podcast
app.
is going to, it's going to drop not too long after you guys go live. When's every new piece going live?
Soon.
In
between today and when the podcast goes out.
Okay. We don't want to tie anyone down to that, but Jason and I have the good fortune of being, I feel like we're kind of mad scientists from this, not that we're computer techies or anything, but you guys will call me and Jason and some of your other ambassadors and say, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Or can you try this out? Can you try that out? And I don't know about you, Jason, but I kind of get this smile on my face like, ooh.
Oh, yeah. You feel like you're being, you're getting a look at technology that nobody else has seen. And when you know what that product's already done for you, and to have the confidence of knowing what this company has done, anything new coming out is, it's very exciting because, I mean, it has been the one product, I would say, in my hunting career. I mean, there's always new bows, and they're a little smoother, and they're a little faster, and there's arrows that are a little stronger, and there's all of that, but it doesn't redefine the way you hunt.
Right.
This product has definitely redefined. It's a tool that's changed the way I hunt, and I don't want to make it sound cliche, but it absolutely has.
It has for me. I would say that, sorry for all the wind noise, folks, but to your point, Jason, it's changed where I apply. It changed how I hunt, where I hunt, where I'm willing to apply at. We've done all kinds of e-scouting videos on our YouTube channel. And people are asking me, is it really that essential to have that onX system to do that e-scouting? I'm like, well, if you want to actually do e-scouting, it's pretty essential to know where you can hunt, where you can't hunt, what the layers are, and everything else. For me, it's been...
Yeah, I mean, you can look at Google Earth, but that doesn't tell you what you need to know. You can find the good areas, but how do you get to those areas? And and without it, you're wasting your time doing the e-scouting.
You guys are too nice. Too nice.
No, we're not. It's such once you get that product in your hands, you will not leave home without it.
Right.
And I mean it.
And I don't care if it's turkeys, if it's whitetails, if it's whatever. I mean, before we turned on the mics, I was telling you guys about this place we hunt that's next to a reservation. And we are the only ones hunting right up to that boundary because the way it's fenced is kind of cockeyed. I think it was one of those old fences, the fence of convenience around this canyon.
Which is a lot of fences, a lot of them.
Do not trust fences in the West necessarily. No. They have been, most of them are for convenience. So we go there and we're looking down into these burned canyons and no one else is there.
Yeah.
And there's stacked up whole elk in there. And the first time I'm like, boy, we got to make sure that this is not on the reservation. But look at your GPS, look at your chip, look at your app. You're like,
property line goes this way and the fence goes that way.
So it's there. I could list, I don't know how many hunts where it's made a huge difference. So
Ranchers will split like BLM sections to like split it in half. They just diagonally right across. It's the easiest, shortest.
Yep.
right.
Diagonally right
It's
across
easier
the
to
middle of
gather
it.
your cattle. You don't have to go into those rough areas. It's convenience, like you say.
Right.
It really is.
And you'll talk to a lot of the land agency people, and they're like, yeah, some of those fences out there have been there for 50 years, and we used to just have the policy, you know, if you got to keep them on that side of the creek, just follow the creek, or to keep them off the bluff, just fence at the bottom of the bluff. Well, that's not where the property line goes. So, but,
For sure.
So when we talk about you guys and your product, Eric, you were on a podcast almost 2 years ago now, and people got a little bit of the story about how this happened, but onXmaps came because of your hunting. I mean, it's not like you said, oh, I want to develop some mapping product
Right.
for the sale to whoever. You're a hunter, and you said, I have a problem here that I got to fix.
Yeah, I'm using paper maps just like everybody else out there, wondering where the heck am I on this map. So you've had, I mean, I've seen pictures of you out on the hood. You got the map laid out. It's like, okay, I got to figure out where I am. So just really looking to know exactly where that property boundary was in the field, and then be able to quickly see on a paper map like where exactly I was.
Yeah.
Or see obviously on the digital map now that we have bigger screens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still remember the first time someone told me that I was at Sportsman's Warehouse, and it sounded so good. Such a great solution. I said, that's got to be a hoax. I'm not spending whatever to buy that. And I left. I was in Idaho. I was in Twin Falls, Idaho.
This is a hoax.
Yeah, I'm like, every hunter I know has been looking for this solution forever. And the guy across the counter is telling me this is how it works. He's like, yeah, this is a new thing in Montana. You're from Montana, don't you know about it? I'm like, no. What the? And I left. I'm like, that can't be. Well, then I go out to the unit, and J.R. Simplot has all these no trespassing signs all over. I mean, he's like the biggest landowner in Idaho. And I want to get to this other ridge out there where I'm seeing deer. And my paper map is telling me that, you can get out there. But everyone else is doing the same thing, driving the road, staying away from there. I drove all the way back into Twin Falls, and I bought that. And I go out there, I plug it in my GPS, and I'm like, all right. So I go right down to the Nevada border, and I head west. I cross this drainage, and I had the whole place to myself. I had a smile like I just robbed a bank or something. And so then I think I ordered every state you guys had at that time. You guys probably thought, who is this cat in Bozeman who just ordered whatever number of chips?
Yes.
It was that much of a game changer to me. And the thought that it was a hoax quickly was like, oh, this is not a hoax. This is whoever this dude is who figured this out. He should be president, man. How do I vote for this guy? But that's how it kind of worked for me, Jason. You probably had a similar moment of when you figured it out.
Yeah, I mean, doing the TV show stuff, obviously, I mean, people say that we get away with more, know, but the reality is we have to be so careful about every move we make. And knowing
no forgiveness for us.
Yeah, exactly. And so it came down to, I had a buddy in Bozeman who had it, and he was ranting and raving about it, Ryan Litwin.
Yep.
And he just kept saying, you guys, you've got to try this. It is amazing. And I didn't really understand it at the time. I didn't really get, it was ahead of the time.
It's new, yeah.
And so kind of like you, it wasn't a hoax to me, but I didn't really understand how it worked. Like, it sounded all good, but I've never seen this before, So plugging it in, and I'll never forget, I was born and raised in Bozeman. I've been on every dirt road, every trailhead, everything in there since I was little, and I in my head had it mapped out of where I could be and where I couldn't. You know, and it had always worked well for me. You know, and then he started showing me that stuff, and I'll never forget when I first got it and I put it in my GPS. I started driving around the valley and kind of circling the Bridger Mountains, actually, because that's where I, used to do a lot of my hunting. And I'll just never forget circling the Bridger Mountains and just the amount of areas, A, I had no clue I could hunt, and B, the spots that were posted that I could hunt.
Yeah.
I found several spots along that, north of Bozeman, out around the Bridgers, the backside towards Wilsall, all of that stuff that those ranchers would get a little carried away with their orange paint, and they know what they're doing.
Right.
They know where those lines are at better than anybody, and they know what they're doing. And it just became a necessity. After that, I realized, A, what I had been missing out on for all these years, places that I would have loved to have hunt, and I could. I just never went because I was buffaloed. I just thought you couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And so here's an area I know basically everybody. I think I've got it figured out, and I was blown away by what I really did not know and how much there was to access.
Yeah, you had like 20 years of hunting experience, built up.
Yeah.
But you thought you knew everything.
Yeah,
You
in the
still
areas
learned
that-
something new, like
Oh,
the first
a lot.
half hour driving
Exactly.
around. Yeah.
And
And
it's-
imagine going somewhere totally new, like drawing an out-of-state hunt or something, and like having that
I
confidence.
can't imagine
to go
doing
there.
it without it now.
I
I really
can't.
can't. The old paper maps and trying, like you said, not only determining where those lines are, but where exactly am I in this whole grand scheme of things?
And you look at that paper map, it says published 1995.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder how much has changed in the last 22
Yeah, I started
years.
going to the county and getting the water rights maps because those were
Interesting.
way more accurate than the
Right.
maps that you could get at the Forest Service. So I'd go get the water rights, and that's how I was figuring it out because it was way more updated.
Yeah.
And but even
Interesting.
then, you're looking at a map that when you fold it out, it's
Where am
the
I
size of this
standing? Yeah.
booth, and where exactly am I? And we know that those animals know those lines.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you hunt along Yellowstone Park, those elk will feed out of the park all night, and 10 minutes before legal shooting light, every one of them is 10 feet inside the line, and they know it. It's not even a fence.
Right.
Yeah.
It's an imaginary line, and they know it as much as the line on your maps, And
No, it's true.
it is. And so how many animals are you hunting that are playing that line? I mean, they're right there. They know that, if I get pressure from this side, I can bounce here and I'm fine. Oh, if they come from here, I'll bounce here and I'm fine. And I've just found a lot of those quality animals play those lines,
They
you
do.
know?
Do you think they have an onXmap on their self?
I always thought it would be funny to make a commercial for these guys where the animals are the ones using it so they would stay off of where we could hunt. Because I do feel like that sometimes, like,
no, there's the fence.
You need to do that,
definitely need to do
Jason. You need to get the full animation thing
It
going.
would be funny if people were in like costumes, like these deer suits and squirrel suits, and they're all talking. I've got it. I would love to do it.
Oh man, we got to get that going. We'll do
You
that.
guys have, Jason has
couple
done.
drinks tonight. We'll get it done.
There you go. Jason has done a lot of conservation films. The one I got the pleasure of being part of was your Project Elk thing, Jason. And I think by all accounts, that's been I hope it's been a smash hit for you. I think for the elk world, it's been a remarkable piece of work. Anyone who hasn't, I guess we're sitting here assuming everybody has seen Project Elk. Where could they go see it, Jason, if they haven't already?
I'm actually really proud to say that with the help of the Elk Foundation and all the partners, we were able to get it landed on iTunes and Amazon Prime.
Wow.
And for every download, 50% of every download will go back to the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation to help ensure the future of wildlife and their habitat.
Yeah.
And that was the purpose of that film to begin with. And I just want to back up by saying I really appreciate your helping us out on that film. You were huge and instrumental in making that film what it was, and I can't thank you enough for helping me on that.
I was glad we could do it. I mean, you and I live in the same town. We live 10 miles apart. When
Yeah.
you called me, I'm like, I'm not doing anything today. I'll be right there. It was nice to be there. But besides it being a great product or a great end film, onXmaps sponsor, you guys
One
are
of many sponsors,
Yeah, but I mean, you guys sponsor a lot of that kind of content. Is there a method behind that?
We're just thankful for you guys going out there and trying to get people behind the conservation message. So
Yeah.
you guys are doing a lot of the work.
Well, we just love hunting. I mean, we were all members of all these conservation groups before we were here at onX. So, I mean,
That's
where
something
my
that's
passion
really
is.
cool for me too to see from companies, and I know Randy, you've seen it too, because the companies we work with they're great companies, and they understand the greater good of what we're all trying to accomplish here. It's not all about the bottom line. Obviously, we all have to try to make money at doing this.
Right.
But what's cool is to partner with these companies who tell you, like these guys, like, it's the message we're behind. We want to support this message and make sure that people understand that how important conservation is.
Yeah.
And even if, we just want to be associated with this so people, relate our product to quality and good things that are going on in the community. So it's really cool when you can work with a company that's like, we believe in you and your message.
Yeah.
Have at it. Whatever you do, we believe in you. And these guys have been great. I mean,
Yep.
it's...
As sitting on the board of the Elk Foundation, you guys have been huge supporters of the Elk Foundation. Of every Jason and I got to go to all the trade shows and all the national conventions, and you guys are at every one of them supporting those groups. And it's, for us anyhow, for what I do. I mean, I haven't figured out how to make money out this yet, Jason. Maybe you can
I
teach
said
me.
we all are trying to make money,
trying.
Randy.
Okay.
Trying.
So,
Yes.
But we are trying to make a living at it, but we also do it for our passion because it's what's important to us, and working with companies that share that same passion like you guys do, it's important to us.
Yeah, and we're super passionate about access. It's going to be one of the things we really try to tackle and go after the next 2 to 3 years. Is a lot of access issues, opening up access, helping conservation groups with access programs. That's one of Eric's key missions, is that access. Our product is naturally a good fit for that, because every day we're opening up access, telling people where public lands are. So we just want to continue to open up more public lands and
you guys have not only supported, the organizations themselves and what Randy and I do through those organizations, but you guys have even offered a lot of these guys like free memberships.
Oh, yeah.
For any members and stuff like that. So that's just another step.
Right.
As showing how you believe in this. You want these people to have this tool when they go out there to be better hunters, to make better decisions.
Yeah.
It shines through.
Oh, for sure. So, folks, if you heard a dog fight in the background, when you're at the Total Archery Challenge, if you can think about going to the hunting fairgrounds, it's kind of what it's like here. There's tons of people walking by. There's some dude down here playing his bongo drums, getting ready. I think
he got the Brew Fest coming up,
Yeah.
so they're setting up all the beer tents
down there. So that's why the crowd's going that way. I thought maybe I just scared them all off. Free beer. I mean, you can't. How do you compete with free beer?
You don't.
You don't. There you go.
We're going to have some free music probably here in the background in about, there it goes.
Yeah. So we're sorry about that, folks. We're just going to have to amp up the volume on all that we're doing here. So, but back to the access thing. For me, our platforms have been about the whole public land, accessible lands thing. And I don't care how far back I went looking for the surveys and studies when I started what was originally On Your Own Adventures, now is just whatever you want to call it that day, Hunt Talk or Fresh Tracks or whatever. Am I going to have to go thump that guy? What's the deal? Don't you guys have enough money to go pull the plug on that guy over there?
He just wants to be on Hunt Talk, Randy. He's just trying to get a free little plug in here, man.
He was the guy who came and said, hey, I want to be on your TV show. And I said, no.
Probably.
His tryout here.
So now he went and got a microphone and he's standing up on the stage. He's probably sings as bad as I do.
He's writing your new intro song right now, I think.
Nobody could sing as bad as I do. But when I was starting all these platforms, I went and researched every study I could find about what was causing the decline in hunting. Every study I found, most of them were done by the National Shooting Sports Foundation. They all said that access was the #1 reason that people quit hunting, got out of hunting, or did not hunt as much as they should have based on, I came from a hunting family, everything else. And you guys are solving that, helping solve that problem. I mean,
that's one of the inspirational things for me, even starting the company, is just moving to Missoula, Montana, and seeing all these, population objectives, over objective. The reason that these the elk populations are over objecting in a lot of these areas is these elk are moving down from the national forest onto these private properties.
Right.
So,
Showing
you know, you
people-
talked about the public-private interface. That's very key to being able to conserve elk populations, really.
Yeah.
Conserve
Yeah,
elk.
when you were talking about these areas, Jason, we did a YouTube video out on our YouTube channel called Boundaries Are Your Ally. And
Boundaries are your ally.
I don't know why I'm going to tell everybody this, but I am.
This is my secret too.
Because a lot of times on private ground, if it's outfitted or it's leased or whatever, they tell the hunters, don't hunt right up to the public because you'll push them over to the public. So there's kind of a little buffer on the private side. And a lot of the public guys are like, well, I don't want to hunt right next to the boundary because if it jumps the fence after I arrowed it or shot it, those boundaries, you see where Randy and his crew's hanging out? I am walking those boundaries and I get myself between the private and where some elk or some deer might be in on the public. That way, if I shoot one, they're going to run further in, deeper into the public. But those boundary areas are gold. And when I put that video out there on YouTube, I got a few nasty grams of, what are you doing, Newberg? Shut your mouth. But again, with the product, you can go and do that kind of stuff. Kind of like Matt, you're going to see a show this fall. I think it's going to air in mid-August, where you and we were in Wyoming. And I just don't know how you would do these kind of hunts without you having the app on your phone.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how I would.
Yeah.
With something that showed me.
And I called Matt a year ago. I'm like, I've been antelope hunting down in this place, and whenever I drive home, I see all these really nice whitetails, and I just wrote it off as all private ground, but I'm looking, there's quite a bit of public, not a lot, but enough little pieces.
Yeah.
What do you think we should do is put in for a second or third choice? I think we can get it. So we drew, and we went down there, and you shot a really nice public land whitetail
nice
on a
8-point.
Nice leftover tag that you could have got it at the hardware store, I think. We probably didn't even need to apply for it.
But we didn't see a lot of deer.
No, we didn't see a lot. But
And the one chance we had at that deer, like if we didn't know the boundaries, we might have missed out on that opportunity.
Right, we would have.
We had to make a decision like instantly. Rangefinder, property lines, 600 yards. He's 250, 300. We got plenty of, we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
you wouldn't be able to do all that.
Right.
Yeah, and
on a paper map.
And with whitetails, a lot of people I think in the Midwest are accustomed to hunting an 80-acre piece or a 40-acre piece or whatever. And we were only hunting 100, 200, 400-acre pieces,
small.
which in the West, if you told some guy, I'm going to go hunt a 200-acre piece, they're like, oh boy, I feel bad for you.
On the river bottom.
See you in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Walk it all out, chase everything off.
But these whitetails in November, like anywhere else, they're on the move. So even if you can't have access to that private, those deer,
they're running, they're cruising.
They got to cross that little corner of state land or BLM or whatever it is.
The river bottom. It's BLM on both sides of the river. They're private, BLM, private, BLM, private, BLM. So it's little chunks.
Yeah.
Just waiting for them.
When people see that episode, because we talk about it a lot, that if people knew how much good whitetail hunting there is in the West, it can be had without having to go and lease or know somebody or whatever. I'm probably going to get some hate mail from all my buddies who hunt whitetail. Like, hey, we don't want all those Midwestern guys coming out here in November. Their season's already over. Let them stay home and watch football or something. But we kind of walk them through how you use the system. And in Wyoming, you guys had all the walk-in hunting areas, and the hunter management areas already on the layers.
Yep.
So
in the app, we get that from Wyoming Fish and Game. Have a partnership with them to get that data. Yeah, and they keep it updated throughout the season for us. So if any property comes in or out of the program, we can easily update that in the app, push it up the next day, change it out. On the chip, it's a little harder because that's one copy it's made before hunting season. So a lot of those changes so we can't implement in the chip. So we don't have that information on the chips. That's one advantage for the app is a lot of the state agencies like us putting some of that more sensitive data on the app because we can change it out day to day as block management areas come in or out or walk-in areas.
Right. So. I mean, you guys have the Montana block management areas on there?
Yeah, Idaho, Washington, Colorado, Kansas,
Okay.
Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I can't.
All the
You
walk-in
have all
areas.
the Kansas walk-in hunting areas?
Yep.
Really, I haven't been down to Kansas since 2011.
Yeah, you had
I'd
fun
say.
down there for a couple of years.
Yeah, I
2
did.
years.
And then they got that really bad drought. And my friend who lives kind of down that direction, he's kind of spooked me off for a few years. He's like, we lost most of our fawn crop for 2 years in a row. So I
That
never
was 6 years ago.
found time to get back down there. But there's a ton of walk-in hunting areas in Kansas. That's what we were doing the 3 years we were down there.
Yeah.
We just, here's a walk-in hunting area.
And it was
Go.
during the rut, too.
Yeah.
I've heard there's some big mule deer on those walk-in areas too.
There are.
Not just whiteys, but big muleys in Kansas too.
Yeah, there are. And I've never been lucky enough to draw the mule deer tag in Kansas. But the area where we would go, the whitetail tag, there's leftovers. So, and Kansas had this weird thing that if you apply for unit 1 and it's adjacent to units 2 and 3, you get to pick a main unit and an adjacent unit that you get to hunt. It's kind of weird. I'm not sure why they do it that way, but
Yeah, those walk-in areas are just key to conservation because, like I talked about, all the elk moving. There's 1,000 elk on this piece of private land. That's how the Fish and Game is able to work with landowners and actually manage those population objectives. So
right. Yeah, the one.
that's why we want to support access so much. Those types of programs that the Fish and Game is working on.
Yeah.
As a company, just really passionate about those programs so you can conserve the animals. And obviously, like you said, hunters said that access was one of the main problems.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, if you don't have access to them, it's hard to use hunters as a management tool,
Right.
and a conservation tool. And so, it's I don't know. I'm just kind of very partial to it because, like Jason said, it's just so critical to what I do. And I know we've done a ton of YouTube videos about your product. I mean, we've done the e-scouting videos, we've done the boundaries video, we've done so many things that I think people figure, man, Newberg must work for those guys or something. In the sake of full disclosure, no, I'm not an employee of onX. But everyone I talk to who I turn them on to the system are like, whoa, I wish I would have known about that. Well, you do now.
Yeah.
And we actually have an employment contract ready for you to sign. You can just make videos for us.
Oh, there we go. Well, I think that if I came to work for you guys, you'd be like my CPA partners. They'd be thinking, when is Newberg's employment contract done? I go down to my CPA firm now once in a while, and those guys, I'm sure they're polite enough to not say it. But if I was in their shoes, I'd be like, can we just fire this guy and terminate this employment contract? He shows up. He's no longer in charge of the employees. The thing I do, I walk in there, I'm like, hey, you guys should get a raise today. That's what I tell all the employees when I show up. Clients walk in the door, and I'm sitting there just drinking a cup of coffee in the lobby, and I'm like, hey, how big of a refund do you want today? And then they're like, really? I'm like, oh, yeah, these guys are guaranteed to get you a refund. I make their job, my perverted sense of humor makes their job so difficult, they should just fire me. But so... Jason, TV guys, we're always getting grief about we get all the tags. You do, but I don't. How do you draw 2 sheep tags in a lifetime?
It's a good question. I mean,
no, it's a serious question.
It keeps the dream alive, I guess. I defy the odds. I know my dad's been putting in for sheep for 48 years in the state of Montana. He's never had a sniff at one.
Really?
He was with me when I killed my first ram in 06, and I just applied like everybody else, you know. I've trust me, looking on social media, I've seen every comment. I'm pretty sure I am one of the most hated hunters in Montana right now. But yeah, I've heard everything from, man, what did you do? I mean, you have a TV show, like it's obvious now. They just do whatever you want, you know. It just makes me laugh. I mean, it's just, my dad is as mad about it as anybody, you know. I mean, it's like, it's just, I'm just lucky. Honestly, I was on a phone call with a friend and in my office, and I got a text message from my cousin who said tags are out. Okay. So I did the routine, you know, I'm just going to scroll through and find out I didn't get anything. And I shouldn't say that because I've been lucky. I have drawn moose, sheep, and goat in Montana, and now a second bighorn. So I am lucky. But yeah, I just went to go through the scroll, and there it was.
Yeah.
Your first choice for sheep, successful. And I actually thought I screwed up. That was my initial reaction. Was that there's no way I actually drew this. This must be a U tag. That was my thought. I must have put the wrong area. So after about 5 minutes of me not saying a word to the guy on the phone, I was like, I have got to get off. I actually think I drew a bighorn sheep tag. And so I had to get off the phone, and I had to look up the number, and I had to research it. I refreshed my screen, and it was still there. I printed it in case anybody wanted to say anything different. I printed that screen. And then I checked the area, and it was my first choice for bighorn sheep. I could not believe it. I mean, I was going to go back to Alaska this year for grizzly and follow up my hunt last year, and I was able to talk to my friend Ben that I was going to hunt with and the outfitter we were going to hunt with for him.
Yeah.
And it actually worked out better for everybody that I postponed that trip to next year.
Yeah.
So ended up doing that and shifted some stuff around, and that's going to be the focus this year. Well,
if they'll send me a sheep tag in Montana, I'll postpone my whole season until next year. I mean.
Oh, I know. It's you can never plan for it. And I actually watched the video after I got it. I got all back in the bug again, and I watched the video of you and your friend. I think I messaged you about it after that.
Yeah.
It's where you found the big ram that he was hunting that had been poached. And I mean, that's unfortunate, really. It was a really cool story you told there.
It was. And, it was funny. We weren't going to film that because in Montana, our special permits, when do you get to start, Jason? The archery starts September 1st? Or 10th or something?
Well, it used to be the 15th, all special, but now they give you like an archery-only grace period.
For a week before or something.
Yeah.
And then, so our tags are like 10 weeks long here. And the last thing I want to do is be the camera crew that shows up when the guy's still got 6 weeks left of his season.
Put pressure on him.
And he feels the pressure to shoot something when we're there. So Vaughn kept calling me. I'm on the road somewhere. I'm like, Vaughn, I'm not filming your hunt. I want to stay your friend. No. Come film it. I'm like, I was making every excuse in the world. Finally, I said, well, I can't get a film permit that quickly. He's like, really? I said, yeah. He's like, no, we got pictures of this 200-inch ram. I'm going to kill him on Friday morning. And so to kind of relieve the pressure, I said, all right, I'll call and see if I can get a film permit, but I know I can't. It takes 6 weeks. So I thought, well, now I've kind of walked myself out on the plank, but, the BLM's not going to give me a film permit in that quick a time. So I call him like, hey, Debbie, I know what the answer is going to be, but I just told this guy I'd check. She's like, when do you need it? I said, well, in 3 days. Whew. I'll get it done for you. I'm like, oh, crap. No. So much for that excuse. So I called Vaughn. I said, all right, I hope you're serious because I've got a film permit. I'm going to pick it up in Lewistown on this day. And so we show up and, like you saw in the video, he'd passed that ram, I think on the Monday before or something like that. And so that day we showed up. The idea was it's right in this basin, we'll kill it. And one of our friends, Gary Porter, was with us, and he's like, look at all those ravens down there in that canyon. And you and I, having filmed, we've spent enough time filming for the unicorn that's now gone.
Yeah.
And so I thought, there's no way that's tanked that ram. And so the rest of the crew stayed up on the top of the breaks, and I said, I just got to go down there because I don't want to be trying to build a story around something that's dead, that some other hunter shot it or whatever. And I come around the corner and I see this coyote feeding on a carcass. And I look down and instantly with that big scar across its face, I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. And so I took pictures of it. And when I come up the hill, I run into Pat Sinclair, who was with us, he's been on many sheep hunts. I show it to Pat, and his language would not be repeatable on TV. Yeah. He said, you better have your cameras rolling live when Bond sees those pictures because you'll never be able to recreate that feeling.
Yeah.
And so we did. But anyhow, it was interesting. A lot of people ask me, well, why didn't you keep those? Well, in Montana, you can't keep the head off a dead bighorn ram. So we called the Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. A warden came out with an investigator. and they investigated what they thought happened. They found a bullet, I think, and they found a blood trail and all kinds of stuff. And so it was, it made for an interesting story, that's for sure. I hope your story this year, when you film it, doesn't have all those kind of
I agree.
crazy ups and downs. But
I would agree with you. But that was it, and you said it. You determined it had been poached.
that's what
right?
that's what they told us. They asked for all of our pictures, all of our video. So Fish, Wildlife, and Parks,
What a waste.
for a few years, was working that pretty hard. I think they had kind of a lead on it, but I don't know. I've never heard that anything came of it. And
What a waste.
then later in that hunt, we found another old dead ram laying out in the sage. And both those rams were over 199 inches.
Jeez. Wow.
I mean, what would that be? That'd probably be the state record in most states, 199-inch ram.
Yeah.
And we find 2 of them in 4 days.
That just shows you that area, and that's I mean, why I feel so lucky. I've talked to people that live out there that, you know, they told me they know of at least 20 rams that are over, 195 inches in that area right now, and that is unheard of. I mean, what tag anywhere for any species in the world are you passing up booners?
Right.
For bigger booners.
I mean, and they're young. They're young rams. They're not like 12-year-old rams. They're like 7 years old.
My first ram I killed was a 191-inch ram, and he was 6.5-year-old ram, 17-inch bases.
Great habitat.
Crazy.
Yeah. So, to get back to your question, I didn't do anything different than I normally do. I've been making the joke, I just put $1,000 cash in my application and I sent it in like I do every year.
That's how rumors get started, my friend. That's how rumors get started. Oh, God.
Oh, let it eat.
No, I'm kind of like you, Jason. I joke about that stuff because some years I hit the jackpot, but I apply for myself probably 60 tags across the West.
You apply so much.
And if all of a sudden it's one of those years
tags,
we draw more, draw a few, people are like, oh, what's going on? I cannot believe that. And so I joke a little bit, like you just said about the $1,000 in the envelope. And then I see some people actually take me seriously when I say that. I'm like, Newberg, you got to think about it before that stuff leaves your mouth, or you're going to have somebody in trouble down at a game and fish agency. So, no, Jason does not draw sheep tags by bribing anybody.
No.
Full disclaimer. It's just how it works with
it's
bonus
just luck
points.
of the draw. I had to, it's kind of an ironic moment because when I shot my first ram, Fish, Wildlife, and Parks wanted a picture of it to do these posters that was called Take Another Shot at the Dream. And it was for our super tags. So I went into my office, and here's a picture of me with my ram, and it says Take Another Shot at the Dream. And I just thought, I am the poster child for this, literally, because I defied the odds. I had nothing in my favor. I had 2 bonus points. I had come to grips that I was one of the lucky people that drew a bighorn sheep in his lifetime, and I would probably never hunt sheep again in my life. I don't have the money it takes to hunt sheep as a year-to-year thing. I would love to go hunt dolls some year. That's a bucket list hunt. But I really had come to grips. Moose, sheep, and goat I was never going to hunt again in Montana.
Wow.
So it was as big a shock to me as it was to anybody. And I mean, I wouldn't trade it for the world, but I it's just lucky. So, and, I think that is good, though. A lot of people, I think a lot of people might get discouraged from putting in some of these places if they knew they had to put in for 30 years before they have enough points to draw.
Right.
So I think it is cool that you see that you can defy the odds. I had 2 bonus points in one of the best sheep units in all of North America and was able to draw. So I think that's just a testament of...
It can happen.
You got to keep trying because you just never know.
Yeah. I mean, I have concluded this. They don't look you up in the phone book and say, oh, you didn't apply, but here's a sheep tag.
Exactly. You kind of got to put in.
So before we get to Lucky Matt about his history of drawing tags, Eric, I don't know that I've ever asked you, have you ever drawn a moose, goat, or sheep tag?
Never have drawn. I've got about 11 years on it, 12 years on it.
I lucked out and I drew a goat tag in 1995. I knew so little about mountain hunting in 1995. I'd only been here for 4 years. I didn't deserve the tag, first of all. It was before our point system started. I went up there and scouted and did some of the dumbest things in one of the most badass wilderness areas in the lower 48, and I just lucked out that nothing bad happened. I was so unprepared. And that
Goat
was,
hunting's so next level too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's extreme.
I would go in there with such bad clothing, bad backup plan. But I like, what's Norman McLean saying, when river runs through it, we owed the world a tragedy or something like that. I was a walking tragedy waiting to happen in the AB wilderness area. Ended up locking out and shot a really nice go, but that's been my only jackpot, if you want to call it, for a moose, goat,
Montana
sheep,
here.
for any of the states. I do all the states for moose, goat, and sheep, and I've never drawn any of them other than that one goat tag. But Matt, you're kind of on the sidelines for everything, aren't you?
Well, I'm back in for second on almost all of it.
Oh, really? So
Except for moose.
you cycled through moose, goat, and sheep.
And bison, yeah.
And bison? I didn't know you had a bison tag.
2010, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Jeez.
This guy.
And mountain goat in 2010.
How much money did you put in the envelopes?
A lot.
He included a free app download.
No, like you said, you can't get drawn if you don't put in, and I think I have a lot of positive thinking. So
Yeah, there you
I'm a
go.
positive guy.
And he put in
Yeah.
every year since he was in high school. He had max bonus points, so
Yeah.
he was smart.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say I didn't draw anything else. I did draw a bison tag
Bison,
in
yeah.
2012.
Yep.
The odds were so slim, I didn't even look it up when the results came out in September. I'm like, I'm not even going to bother. I came back in November from a hunt in Colorado, and my wife's like, there's your mail that showed up since you've been gone for 3 months.
And there's a tag in
Yeah,
it.
there's this big bundled package from Fish, Wildlife, and Parks.
yeah,
I mean,
all
it's
the
a
training.
Yeah, it's a big manila
Oh, yeah,
envelope.
yeah.
I'm like,
CD,
boy,
yeah.
this must be an appearance for court or something. I mean, usually subpoenas come in packages this big. And I open it up and it's like, congratulations, you've drawn a bison tag. I'm like, you're kidding me.
Yeah.
But so it can happen.
That was a lot of fun.
So-
I think I shot mine pretty close to where you got yours.
Yeah.
I was a little further out on the peninsula there.
Yeah.
But that year, I was the only one that shot a bison.
Oh,
In the
really?
state. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, you were the one guy. A friend of mine, Matt Clyde, his wife had the super tag that year. And she had the super tag, could hunt any bison all year or whatever the
the
seasons
whole
were.
season, yeah.
And they didn't even shoot one because none came out of the park.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, you lucked out, Matt. You were because
Found one bull.
Yeah,
And
I know.
Kind of waited on him. It was minus 24 degrees that morning when we left Bozeman, and got down there and found him. It was about 300 yards.
Was it Gardner or West?
We were on West Yellowstone.
West, yeah.
Yep. And he was way out on the peninsula, past all the houses.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, and he had 4 cows and 1 bull, and
Wow,
Yeah.
that is lucky.
that was a cold but fun day.
Yeah.
Actually, it wasn't that cold. We were busy.
You were working hard.
Yeah.
We started a fire, called in some support.
Right. When
It
you
was
get a
lot of fun.
bison
And
on
they're
the
big.
ground,
I mean, your hands don't get
You
cold.
crawl inside it.
Yeah.
yeah, when I shot that one, there were 4 of us, and we were all experienced with knives.
Yeah.
I mean, all of us have spent our share of time butchering, quartering animals in the field. That was so much work. They tell you in the orientation, they're like, prepare for the
Right.
fact it's going to be all this work. But until you have a I don't know what they weigh, 1,200 pounds
Or more.
or more, that animal
You don't move 'em.
laying
For a
there
picture.
in 2 feet of snow,
Yeah.
that's when it sinks in like, uh-oh.
And the hide is so thick. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're like on those bulls. I shot I think a 6-year-old bull is what mine was. That forward part where they're fighting and hooking with each other in the rut.
Oh, so that's really hard to
Yeah, that
skin out.
leather there gets so thick. Trying to get through that,
Wow.
that is hard on knives.
Yeah.
And then just trying to roll it. You don't roll it over. You
You got to
just
do one whole, take every piece of meat off.
the top side you get everything off,
And then
all of you do all you can to roll it.
flip it. Yeah.
But that was a lot
Gutless
of work.
method works good on that.
It did.
You're just left with gut pile and a backbone.
Right. That's all we ended up with too. And the heart. Man, I had a heart. I love heart. We did a YouTube video about antelope hearts. The only downside about antelope hearts is they're not as big as bison hearts.
They go faster.
Of course.
My son loves heart meat, and he was off at college at the time, but I saved some of it for when he came home. But I ate bison heart. I hit it in the bottom of the heart, so I
Okay.
ruined that little part of it. But even after carving that out, the amount of heart meat I ate. Man, my belly was, I looked like a swelled up wood tick after eating all that bison heart, man. I was like, you're going to have a protein coma or something.
Yeah.
But so, well, it's nice to know that there are some guys that can do it. Eric and I, Eric more than anyone, being the exception.
Keep putting in.
What are we going to
trying.
do? What are we going to do to get you over that hump, Eric? I mean, what's it going to take to get you into a sheep hunt?
I think you guys, both of you, need to put a little good word into the fishing game and say, this guy was well deserving.
I do. I can't
put
think
in an
of
extra 1,000 and
Yeah.
put Eric's name on it.
Put my name on it,
I think we're going to have to. Well, let's
I'm going
see.
to draw again before you.
The legislature convenes again
I'm gonna pull a
in
Jason.
2019.
See, I
Eric.
keep
There
the
you go.
dream alive. See?
I got lots of time left now.
when the legislature reconvenes in 2019, I'm gonna submit a bill for consideration.
Once in
The
a
Eric
lifetime?
onX bighorn sheep tag. So
I'll take the moose tag, actually.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I always, there's one state I always apply for super tags because I'm an antelope nut. Arizona.
Oh,
So,
yeah, that's hard.
It's the only place that I buy these super tag applications. I'm thinking, instead of spreading all my money out, I'm going to carpet bomb Arizona's antelope one. So I'm embarrassed to tell people how much money I spend on that super tag, but
Goes to a good cause.
it does. It does. It goes to conservation. And, well, they did the drawing on Thursday night. And I'm online hitting refresh, and I look and it says the antelope winner's from Montana. And I look, and it's Dr. Bob, co-owner of Kennetrack Boots. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. He only bought 2 chances, and they sell like, I can't remember how many thousands of chances, and he only bought 2. And he drew the statewide antelope tag in Arizona. I'm like, well, next time I see him, I'm going to find out. That's luck like you got going there, Jason.
There's some nice antelope down there.
There sure is.
Yeah, I drew in 2011. I drew an archery tag. I burned 16 points for an archery tag.
Yeah.
We filmed it for a week, and it's a 2-week hunt. And I told the camera crew, you guys got to leave. I'm staying. You guys go home. And so I stayed there, and I came so close so many times. And the buck I was chasing, some guys watched me that night. They had the rifle tag that started the next day. And they came to my camp that night. They're like, what happened? Did you get him? We saw you disappear out of view. I'm like, no, he's just bedded down there by that water hole.
Couldn't sneak up on him.
I ran out of light. I got to about 100, 110 yards, and it was just like
Getting dark.
shooting lights over. And he had a smaller buck and 3 does with him. And they're like, man, we'd like to kill that one. I'm like, yeah, if I was you, I'd do it too. And so I said, if I was you, I'd be in there before daylight at that water hole. And they're like, okay. And so I gave them my phone number. I'm like, if you shoot him, if you get caught up to him, give me a text. I'd like to see that buck up close.
Was your season over then?
My season was over. The next morning, their season started. And I got my camp all packed up because I got to be to New Mexico for the next day for a hunt. And it's maybe 9 in the morning, and I get a text from them, and they're sitting there with this big thing, big smiles, and I'm like, cool. So I got it officially measured, and it netted right on the button, 90 inches.
Whoa.
And so some of the bucks I was passing up,
85.
the camera guys are like, you are an idiot. But when you see a buck like that, and I knew I'm probably only hunting Arizona once in my life for antelope, it was like having blinders on. I'd go and do a few stalks thinking, but if it didn't work out, even though it was an 82-inch buck or whatever, I'd be like, not the end of the world. Let's go find this big one again. And another time I had a close encounter with him, and some guy comes walking over the horizon with a moo cow decoy that he'd seen us doing on the TV show. And the buck takes off running, and I talk to him, and he's like, You're Randy Newberg. That's why I'm using this black cow out here.
Nice.
Like, oh, great.
Doesn't work all the time.
Karma comes back to bite me. So, but,
There has to be cows around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you
That's
put
right.
the antelope decoy up, most times in Montana, the bucks run the other way.
Yeah. But where your sheep tag is, Jason, that was, for me, that was pre-onXmap days. And we ended up making such a detour to get to that ram that Vaughn shot.
Oh, yeah.
now when I look at, because a lot of people ask me, hey, I drew the tag, you mind showing me where, whatever? And so now I go in and I'm like, well, yeah, here's how you can get there way easier than we got there.
You've probably been studying the maps too now. You've probably seen some spots where you were like, oh, man.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited to get in there.
Yeah, if we would have had the chip or the app at that time, it would have saved us about 4 miles that day.
Wow.
And then there's also some spots that you really couldn't tell on the paper map where exactly where's this drainage running. And so we passed on some opportunities. I don't know if On would have shot them, but we just weren't comfortable, whether that was public or private. Right. And so you won't have that excuse. Anything short of a 205-inch ram, Jason, and we're not going to be your friend anymore.
With the bow.
Were you doing
with your bow? Yeah,
right?
With your bow.
That is my goal, though. I do want to do it with a bow this year.
Cool. And you got your first one with the bow?
No, rifle.
Okay,
first
rifle.
one was a rifle.
That makes sense.
So,
well, from what I saw of that unit, where how we did it, there were some of those nice rams you could have got up to with a bow.
Yeah,
and
that's one
doable.
thing. You know, like I said, I'd come to grips with the fact that I would probably never hunt those sheep again. But of course, you always think about what you would have done differently.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was an electrician. I had 2 weeks paid vacation. I was just freshly married. I didn't have a lot of time. I felt like I was really rushed back and forth, you know. And this year, those are the two things. I want to do it with a bow, and I just want to soak it up.
Yeah.
You know, I've told guys, like, I just want to be that guy that doesn't feel so much pressure on this tag that I don't enjoy it. I just want to take naps on the side of the mountain and just be in sheep country and just enjoy it this year. And that's, kind of what I plan to do.
Yeah. Well, you make a good point there about the have 2 weeks paid vacation thing and all that. And I'm always trying to keep myself in that mindset of back when I had the full-time job, the CPA firm was pulling me away, being self-employed, son, you know, in high school and trying to be the coach of the Pop Warner football, all those time constraints. And one thing that would have helped me then is a product like you guys have. Some of the other products I have today would have been super helpful because the time I had to hunt was so precious.
You can't use it as time to scout at
exactly.
that time. You needed that time to hunt.
Right. Yeah. So with technology today, the e-scouting that I can do in February or in July makes my time hunting.
Yep.
When I show up, I've got a plan and I'm off and going.
Yeah, I was fed up with like going down the wrong Forest Service road, not knowing where I was on the Forest Service map. Like, oh man, that's like
wasting
2 hours. I got to go all the way back around that one.
Especially like taking the wrong turn in the morning and not getting the trailhead in time.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
it's a big difference.
I get a lot of people who will be like, well, when I grew up, this is how we did it. And I'm kind of a little bit the same way. My son will be like, well, you should have seen how it was when I was your age, you know. And I think
it's just a natural progression.
It's a natural part of who we are, and we learned it from our grandparents or our dad or whatever. But I do think that today's technology has been a huge help for getting more hunters in the field, which some would say, no, we don't need more hunters, but increasing their likelihood of success. And to me, that's everything in my platforms is how do I lower the hurdles? How do I lower the hurdles and how do I maybe inspire them that they could do it? So it's really that simple. And
you know, the things too that amaze me about the product is the things that you end up using it for that you never would have imagined you used it for, you know. I think I was telling you this story a week ago or something, just about, you know, like even if you're not intending on hunting private, or even if there isn't you don't need to know that landowner's name because the animal's standing on there. I've been on some of the most exhausting lion chases in my entire life that I intended on being, and they were all on public. But when you're done, you're 10 miles in, you're exhausted. You've got a pack of hounds. Now you got a dead lion. And like one instance, my buddy's knee was like basically shot. He got to the tree, and it was kind of that moment of, okay, like this knee is jello. I just got to, you know, kill this lion. I've either got to pack this thing out 10 miles or, that was my buddy Barrett. His knee was, you know, he just didn't have it in him. Like it was a real moment. And got on the onXmaps, was able to research 3 different landowners that were below us. And there was a county road like a quarter mile away. Or go back on Forest Service 10 miles.
Right.
We could get to this subdivision road. And I never would have dreamed that day that I would have used it for anything, really, you know, other than just tracking the hounds.
Yeah.
And that saved us. I mean, it saved us, I don't even know how many hours, and it could have been the difference between him blowing out his knee on the mountain and not. And, you know, that's just one example that I can think of, you know, where it isn't just the classic, oh, there's a deer, I want to see whose property it on. Right. You know, that's the obvious of what this product does. The things that I've learned, you know, that I've ended up using this product for that I never would have, you know, it's just, it continues to prove its value. Another one, not to just keep going here, but I think of this
Keep going, Jason. I want to hear how you use this because we don't ever get to hunt together. We're off going other directions. So I'm always interested in how other people who do what I do it.
These are the types of stories that keep us going. So
really,
the team's working really hard, and this, you know, they love hearing these. So
please
continue.
So,
They'll love it.
One of my big passions is spring bear hunting. I love spot and stock spring bear hunting, and I know you do too.
Yeah.
And as you know, we're in big mountains here, and a lot of the times you're looking at these bears across a canyon, and we all know what it looks like from this view, but when you drop into the canyon, you get on that side hill, all of a sudden everything's the same. Right. You can't make rhyme or reason like that. One tree you had picked out is all of a sudden
20.
on an entire mountain, and you're looking for one tree.
And so, no matter how many times you okay, I'm going to study that hillside, and I'm not going to have that happen to me again. Okay, then you get up there, and it's like, dang it happened again.
And so 2 years ago, I spotted a bear, and it was literally this blanket forest hillside across from us, one tiny little opening, and this bear comes out into it, and it feeds for a while. And, you know, I'm sitting there looking at the clock going, okay, we got 2 hours to get down across this canyon. And so before we left, I pulled up the app where you can see the Google Earth and all the aerial. And I pulled it up, and I was able to get on that hillside, and I was able to zoom up and see that one opening.
Okay.
And I mean, we're talking like this, you know, 20-yard round area, not big on that huge mountainside.
Yeah.
I pinned it, got down in the bottom, and I'm not kidding, that whole stalk, I was basically looking at my phone. I was pulling it up, and I was just tracking us right into where I had dropped that pin.
Yeah.
I didn't pay attention to anything on the mountain. I was looking at that pin, checking the wind, making sure that the wind corresponded with where the pin was and all that.
Yeah.
Shot that bear at 60 yards in his bed.
Wow.
On that heavy timbered hillside. And I can promise you that would not have happened without this app.
No.
And that was just another way that I turned to my buddy, Rich Philback. I know you know Rich.
Yeah.
And I just said, I mean, can you believe it? Like what we were able to just do, we've tried to figure out how to get across these mountains and decipher it for years.
Yeah.
And that was just another story where, like, sitting on the, you know, rack at the store, you would never think of that application.
Right.
But this product continues to prove to me why I will never leave without it, and it continues to bring up things I never would have dreamed of how I would use them.
Well, what you talked about there, Jason, is why an old school guy like me is starting to become one of these new school guys with these smartphone things, whatever it is.
They're just phones now. That's the standard.
Is okay? You just call it a phone. No one has the one like I had growing up where you
like
dial.
The egg phone.
Yeah, you brrr, you know, and 3 rings was you, 4 rings was Olson's down the party line. But so one of the things I was always this Garmin guy, put the chip in, and the surface ownership was great.
Yeah.
I was lazy. I had all my waypoints and all my trails and stuff marked in there, so I never wanted to download and transfer.
That's a super easy program to use. Yeah,
I know
like
that
a plug
now.
and play. Yeah.
But you're talking to a guy who grew up. You know, I was a logger son. I mean, and my technology level isn't far above where my dad's ended. So, but my camera guys for the last few years, they're strictly app guys. They look at me with that clunky, why are you carrying that extra thing that requires more batteries and blah, blah, blah. Well, a lot of times we're walking this basin or whatever, and I'm like, hey, pull that up on the aerial. What's over this ridge? Is it? Well, all of a sudden, there's a burn over the ridge, and we can see we get the aerial image, we get everything without having to walk over there.
Yeah.
And anyone who follows our stuff knows that if there's a burn, that's where I'm going. And so you guys have the burn layers on there, but even if you didn't have the burn layer, just to see that it was more open without having to, gain 600 feet to get over to the other side, huge benefit for that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But speaking of burn layers,
Okay.
you guys, the burns are going to soon be on the web map.
Yes, on the web map.
Okay.
By the time people are listening to this.
Okay, by the time people start listening to the podcast, all of Randy Newberg's favorite hunting spots are now going to be available to eScout on your desktop.
Yep, and in the mobile app.
They've been on the mobile app for quite a while. That's that's part of what really hooked me and caused me to say, Randy, you better start moving along here. If you are as addicted to hunting burns as you are, and they're at that time we're only on the app. That's what really got me to the app is that layer, and but now it's going to be on the desktop app.
Yep.
So all of my buddies who already are mad at me for doing these e-scouting videos, now they're really going to be mad because now people are going to be able to see the burns on their desktop.
Yep. Yes, we've brought them all in-house, mapped them out.
Going back to what,
labels on
2000, 2002, something like that?
Back for a ways, yeah.
2000-ish, yeah.
Yeah.
Right in there.
And right now, with the new platform you guys let us play with over the last month, they really stand out now.
Yeah.
You guys didn't have to make them. You didn't have to make it that conspicuous, okay? Right there's a big kind of, what do you call those? Not a polygon or whatever kind of shape.
Like a shape file area. Yeah.
2012. I'm like, crap.
Yeah. Which is nice to know the year because
that is nice.
You want to target.
Big difference.
I want to target fires that are 5 to 6 years old. If I'm maybe looking for elk, if I'm looking for morel mushrooms, 1 to 2 years old, whatever is appropriate for what activity you're doing. This would be really nice.
So, folks, you're not going to have to rely on anything else other than your desktop anymore to go and find burns. I used to tell people, well, if you really want to go, you got to go out to NCWeb, or you do this, or you do that. And there's all these kind of old archaic websites where, if you are a computer software engineer, you'll be able to figure out how to get that data.
Yeah, it's out there.
Yeah. But now thanks for making it so simple, guys.
Now it's hundreds of layers all in one.
Pretty soon, I'm going to be like some of those people who are hating on me. I'm going to be like, guys, come on, just don't be doing this here. But
you already did one layer that.
I know. So
that you and Eric aren't happy
let's get
about.
into that layer last. We'll save the most hated layer for last. But Eric, you were telling me,
but useful.
Yes, that's why it's going to be hated. Is it's too useful. Eric, you were telling me you guys have the new timber harvest layers that's going to be coming out with the new release. So when people are listening to this, they will be able to go and see timber sales because, let's face it, a lot of places, clear cuts are where we hunt. Anything that creates a fringe or an edge, deer, elk, bears, whatever, those are the places they hang out. So.
Exactly the same situation. With you looking at the burn layer, you're looking for those feed locations. And if there's a recent timber cut, then you've got that feed coming up, and you're going to attract.
And is that strictly Forest Service?
Yes.
Yeah.
Forest Service land,
Yeah, which if you're in Montana, Idaho, Washington, Oregon, those are the places you hunt. I mean, spring bear hunting, I'm looking for whatever the opening is. I don't care if it's a clear cut, a timber cut, a thinning, whatever, or if it's a burn or... I mean, I'm just not good enough. Well, I'm not good enough to shoot bears on a regular basis anyhow, but I don't go chase them in the timber like some people do. I got to have them out in these
now you can.
Well, you can, thanks to Jason letting the cat out of the bag. But no, having that layer is going to be super helpful. I mean, I think about those guys who hunt Roosevelt elk and hunt black-tailed deer.
Yeah.
Those guys, when I talk to them, they're like, if it's not some sort of timber cut, it's so thick we don't have a chance. So I suspect the Idaho, Oregon, Washington guys, they're going to be...
I think they'll like that.
They'll be...
and it classifies them as a clear cut or a thinning. So,
does it?
So there's a little bit different shade for the clear cuts versus the thinning areas. And then once again, it has the year on the label. So you can quickly reference the year. You can long press or press on the polygon and it'll tell you how many acres more information about the sale, the name of the sale, more information about it if you want to dig in and do more research. But yeah, it's pretty neat.
So the next layer would this layer, it kind of gives you a way of where you grew up, Eric. Miles City, Montana is like the prairie dog capital of, and maybe not the capital, but if you want to meet some crazy prairie dog shooters, Miles City is a good place to hang out if you like to do that.
Yeah.
So what did you guys do with the prairie dog stuff?
So yeah, it's just a little bit of a pet project of mine. We scanned aerial imagery across the United States with knowing certain concentration areas for prairie dogs. We basically marked every single prairie dog town that we could find from aerial imagery. Scanned the whole western U.S.
So that little prairie dog icon I saw in the layers, that's what that was. Yep. I clicked at a time or two and
that was the first version.
Up.
First version of it, Yep. Now we got, basically we believe every prairie dog town that we could find in the United States.
Over 16,000.
16,000
prairie dog towns.
Not holes. There'd be like...
So are you talking
So
just prairie dogs, or is this gophers? Or you're talking just prairie dog towns? Like down by where we turkey hunt? Like,
those are prairie dogs.
Yeah, but that's all you're... Not just gophers?
No.
Okay,
okay.
Well, now you've just got a whole new audience of users of prairie dog.
And there's some really
shooters.
dedicated prairie dog shooters that are going to find that layer super valuable.
If you run into a guy who is serious about prairie dogs, they're cut from a different cloth. I mean, these guys,
they are serious.
We do a lot of walleye fishing up at Fort Peck, and from Glasgow, Malta, Harlem, all that. There's a lot of guys who do that up there. And when you run into those guys when I'm up there fishing, I'll see them. They've got stands in the back of their truck.
Totally.
They've got cases there where they throw their brass. I'm like, well, how many rounds are you shooting in it? Oh, a good day is about 500 or 600. Like, holy
I went with a couple guys last year, and they take these ATVs out, and they've got 4 rifle racks on there, and they put their 4 guns on their rack, and they're going, here they go. I'm like,
bang.
Got my little 22, like, oh, sweet, you guys are pretty serious. 4 all their guns, so they're switching out, get this one's getting too hot. Get this one out.
I know a rancher over by Ringling who has 2 guys could drive up from Florida every year to spend a week and shoot prairie dogs on his place, and it's a tradition. They love it.
The one guy who and this is where it really struck me how different they are. One guy had like a cargo trailer behind him, about a 12 by, 7-foot trailer. And when you drop it, he's got his reloading bench and everything in there. With lights, the whole works. I'm like...
He's up all night.
Yeah.
Like mobile command center.
Yeah. I'm like, well, don't you bring enough with you? He said, well, I just never know how this is going to be doing. And so... in the middle of the day, if it's too hot, I'll come back and I'll do this, or at night I'll do that. I'm like, this guy is serious. And I can't remember where he's from, but he'd traveled a long ways to come here and shoot prairie dogs. So
so you turn that layer on, turn on your public and private lands, and you can see, is the prairie dog town on public, private, who owns it? Give them a call. Good chance you can get permission.
So this last layer we're going to talk about, I've done a bunch of e-scouting videos, and I showed people how a low-tech redneck like Randy, I guess if there's one thing about hunters, we're all, I think MacGyver was a hunter. He had to figure out how to just make it work with what he had. So not being a software engineer,
or a TV show host. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I think being a TV show host and an accountant puts you so far down the technology curve that the bell curve has, you can't even see the peak of the bell curve from where I'm at. So I'm showing people how I do this, and I do it with Microsoft Paint and screen captures and saving your files and stuff. Yep. And one of your guys called me, maybe it was you, Matt, I don't know. I sent a draft of the video. They're like, what are you doing there? I said, well, I'm marking the roadless areas. I kind of scale the width of my paintbrush on Microsoft Paint, and I follow all the roads, and I kind of make these red marks that say, don't go there. And then what's left is the places that I know are at least a half mile from a road or a motorized trail.
Yep.
And you guys said, well, why are you doing it that way? I said, because I don't know how else to do it. And you guys said something to the effect of, well, give us some time. We'll fix that.
Yeah.
And so the new layer is gonna, or the new.
It's probably out by now.
What are you guys calling it? The roadless.
Oh, we can work on that. But Randy's roadless areas.
Randy's roadless. So
that way we can blame it.
I am going to get blamed. So here's how it's going to work, folks. You say, I want to see all areas that are X far from a motorized road.
So right now we have one setting, and it's a gradient.
Right. So the further from the road, the
wider the filter
lighter,
gets.
the more transparent the gradient gets.
Yep.
The closer to the road, the darker, the less transparent the gradient
Correct.
is.
Yep.
And
so if you're looking at a hunting unit and you go to a unit in New Mexico and look at that unit, you can easily see, oh, here's some white areas. That's where I'm going to focus maybe for late season elk or whatever you're going to be hunting if you want to get the furthest away from roads.
Right.
So I'm using it. I drew a elk tag in Nevada this year. So I've been looking at it over the last week, and it's really highlighted some areas that I think I have a late season muzzleloader. So I'm like, I think there's some areas I might have to hike into.
So the days of me on my Randy room floor with a Sharpie and a BLM
Coloring
surface
everything
map,
out,
squiggling everything
I don't even
out,
want to look there. Yeah.
and then saying, well, there's a spot right there that doesn't, look at that, there's 3 square miles. There's no roads there.
Yep.
Now it's just going to be click the layer and
Turn it on. Yep.
there you
Bam,
go.
There you go. Look at your unit, maybe drop some waypoints, turn the layer off, and now start researching how you can get in there if you want to get the furthest away from a road.
So if you're...
And the nice thing about the gradient is, like, it shows like these little areas that are like, that, some guys can't hike 5 miles. I don't really want to hike 5 miles every time I go in, but you might be able to find a little hidden area that's a mile, half a mile from a road. So
all of that work and all of this sanctuary stuff I talk about in my lectures, sanctuaries are the places that are either due to distance or topography are far from roads.
Yep.
Now people will know where to go and look for sanctuaries.
They will,
by
Randy.
one click of the mouse and turning on a layer.
Yep.
You will now know where the sanctuaries are.
It's pretty funny. Our team's looking at this layer, previewing it like, oh man, I don't know if we can release this. And I'm like, no, we can. What is going on here? Because you like look at your best hunting spots and you're like, dang it highlights like all the.
I know.
That's because. Anyway, you've explained it on your podcast.
No, you
still got to get there. Still got to hunt.
You are right, Eric. It does. If you are a public land elk hunter and you subscribe to the theory that pretty much every study shows that pressured elk want to be far from motorized roads and trails. That's not. And I tell people, I'm not saying this because I've got some political bias against motorized travel. I want you to be able to kill elk. And that's what every piece of research shows. So that's where I go to look for elk, especially in the post-rut and the late season. Once the rut's over, these bulls are going to survive another season. And they're getting away from roads and trails. So
they need the less stress, the least amount of stress on them as possible to come out of a long rut, that's worn them down. If they don't find an area with little stress, it'll just really hurt their survival going through the winter, and they know that.
They've figured it out.
Out. They know where they need to go.
Yeah,
it's their life.
So now when you turn those layers on, all of Eric's favorite spots, all of my favorite spots they're not gonna. It's not gonna be like there's a pin right there, but you're gonna know kind of where Randy Newberg hunts. In the post-rut or late season period.
And big areas, like the Bridgers is going to have a lot of white, in some of the areas. Then you'll have, up Ferry Lake, it'll be a little shaded where people might, the roads closer and Flathead Pass and, So it's,
it's not like it says go right here.
Yeah.
You're still going to have to put your...
It's a gradient.
You're going to have to think about it. You're going to have to do some more research. But the process of finding where the general areas are that don't have roads and trails all of a sudden got easy.
And it totally depends on your application. Like early season archery, Eric's hunting property lines. He's hunting boundaries. He's hunting private hayfield, like the edges, trying to get the elk coming back from the hayfields and back and forth or whatever. So it's not like everybody's going to go funnel into those areas because the elk aren't there.
Right. Peak rut in September.
And it depends what state you're in and what habitat. Like Nevada, they're all over. But in Montana, they're not at the top of the mountains all year. They're down along the private a lot of times.
So I would say in a peak rut period, that those layers are going to not be as important because the elk are just running around looking for cows. The bulls are.
Wherever the cows are.
But boy, you get to that post-rut and late season period and That is, can you guys delay that till after hunting season?
I'll tell
Well,
you
what
this.
states do you have tags for? We'll just turn it off.
I have Montana, Arizona, and New Mexico.
Oh, that
out
might
there.
hurt us.
Or,
I
I
don't know if
mean,
I can do
not
that.
New Mexico, Wyoming. I got Arizona, Wyoming, and Montana.
Oh, yeah. Nobody will mind.
Sometimes
Nobody
it's
will
just-
mind if it's missing in those states.
I did find a spot that the elk walk right through the trailhead, so I'm okay with launching the layer. I've got
Like
my
you said,
one spot.
animals are animals.
They go
Yeah,
they go everywhere.
They need
As everyone's
food
walking,
and water.
everyone gets up to that one early, and I just sit there and camp, just like, oh, good luck,
Yeah.
guys. I'm gonna wait.
Well, and if you're a
till 10 o'clock.
recluse too, it's just an area you can go to know that you're not going to see people.
Exactly.
Right.
I remember one spring bear season, I was so frustrated with seeing people
Yeah.
that I actually didn't even care if I went to an area that had bears. I just wanted to get away
Not
from
see people. Yeah.
Yeah.
And miraculously,
Yeah.
there was bears.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I hope that the people listening understand or are realizing that how you guys use, what would I say? Those people you have relationships who are intensive users of your product, you kind of send us out the door and say, go use it.
Yeah.
Tell us tell us how you use it. Come and meet with our people, our product development folks, and tell us how we can make it better. And I don't know if any of my input's worth anything, but I know
No.
you send a bunch of us out in the field for
This
that
summer,
specific
yeah.
purpose.
Yeah, we had over 4,000, I think, customers and staffers out testing the new app that that is should be out by now. But everybody was out testing it, this summer and looking at it and giving us feedback. And yeah, it's been great. And we've done surveys over the last years, trying to figure out what we needed to do. Our customer service team, gets hundreds of phone calls, thousands of emails a day. They do a really good job of compiling kind of all the customer requests and things we can improve on. So
Yeah.
it's been a year-long effort to rebuild the app coming up to launch for this fall. So
Yeah. Well, for me, and again, I'm probably the outlier, but the interface, just on the desktop,
user
app,
interface,
the
yep.
user interface is so much easier
So
for
awesome.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Much more
I
user
think
friendly.
Yeah.
everybody will look at that and say, "Oh, wow,
yeah, it's fun.
this is easy. Even Randy can do it." So we're going to be shooting a YouTube video, aren't we, Matt? In the
Next week, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to show people these
layers
layers
and how to use them. Yeah.
how to use them, and I'm even going to do it. So they'll look at it and say, "Well, if Newberg can do it,
Yeah.
even a caveman can do it."
Yeah.
I mean, we might have the makings of a Geico commercial here.
I mean, there's lots of data out there. We're working on some
He's
other
got the beard.
Yeah.
You do, Matt. You got the beard, so maybe.
caveman.
So
I do have
Adolescent
one thing I
Bigfoot.
want to add. One more story that I
Sure.
was thinking of
Yeah.
is where this spring I had had a great bear season this year. Saw more bears than I ever have. Lots of sows and cubs though. I saw 48 bears total this spring. Mostly, I think 35 of them were sows and cubs.
Yeah.
But the one big bear that I did find, not too far from where we are here right now, giant chocolate. Dude, just one of those bears that when you look at, there's just no doubt
Go.
it is a tank,
Yeah.
And canyon I had never hunted before, always wanted to, just never had been there. And I didn't really know once I dropped down across that canyon and got up the other side how everything laid. So I was trying to figure out where I could get a shot because I know I'm not going to want a shot at that bear in that exact meadow or he's going to hear me coming. It's all rock and shale. Like there's no way I can get on that bear. So I was able to sit across the canyon and, put a pin where I wanted to sit and put a pin where the bear was and measure that distance. And so I was able to go, man, if I get there, that's still a 520-yard shot. I need to get 150 yards closer before I can even think about this. So then I would, scroll the map around and I go, well, this looks like an opening. And I'd draw the line there and I go, okay, 350, now we're talking. If I can get to that knob right there, I know when I crest up, I will have a shot if he's there.
Yeah.
Instead of piddling around on the mountain and potentially scaring him. Now, granted, I didn't get that bear because I ended up getting a flat tire on my bike and a bunch of things went wrong, and I didn't get him. But
they call that hunting, Jason.
yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
But I just, that was another thing that I can think of that in the
Some
heat of the
planning in
moment,
the
you're
field,
just
yeah.
trying to do the best you can with what you have. And it was just another thing that I never would have thought of, once again, sitting on the shelf. But you get out in those moments and, like you say, we're MacGyver. We're working with anything we have to put this together.
Yeah.
And that was just one more way. I was thinking that's cool because I know I no longer have to waste time. I know exactly where I have to get to be able to be in distance to make that shot.
Yeah, and I've used that same thing in Arizona, especially sometimes the late seasons we're hunting canyons. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, if we get out to that rock, how far would it be if a bull came out at the mouth of the canyon? And you can kind of triangulate that using the app, or you can even do it with the GPS, but it's a lot harder with the GPS. So we know that what Jason's most anticipated hunt is for this year. I think that you got anything that you're anticipating more than a Montana bighorn tag?
No, not at this point. No.
Eric, you got anything or this year is causing you to lose sleep because you're so excited?
Let's see here. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to Alaska for a moose.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Cool.
I got a 20-day moose hunt in Alaska with 2 other guys.
20 days. Are you guys floating, flying in?
Flying into a lake, and then doing a 30-mile float, and then getting picked up.
How cool is that?
Do it yourself.
Yeah, that is cool.
It's going to be an awesome hunt. So you're kind of scaring me earlier talking about this bison.
Oh,
you were trying to get 2-3 moose.
One time, I have family who lives up there, so it's almost like not fair. And in 2001, when 9/11 happened, we were in moose camp. My grandparents lived up there. I've got 3 uncles and their families who live up there. And if I could give you a piece of advice, if you have anyone who's fresh out of the military, big stout dude.
Bring a packer.
So we were there, and between 8 of us, we shot 4 moose.
Oh, my goodness.
And my Uncle Larry, he shot his moose furthest from the river. And we had a little, my uncles live there. They've got this kind of figured out. I'm like taking notes and stuff and observing, but they had a little canoe where in most instances we could float it down these little channels to the river where the big boats were. Well, this one, the biggest one of them all that Larry shot, 61 inches, dies out in a bog somewhere, swamp. But my cousin Patrick, he's about 6'3", just like a piece of piano wire, man. I mean, he is nothing but muscle. And he just got out of the service. And I told the guys, I said, watch this. It was one of those places in Alaska where you can't bone out the meat. You got to keep the meat on the bone. And I said, Patrick, I bet you $200 you can't get these 2 hindquarters out of here in 2 trips. Oh, what do you mean?
Hindquarters?
Yeah. I said, I bet you $200 those hindquarters that you can't get one out in a trip all by yourself and then come get the other one. Oh, I can too. It was the best $200 I ever spent. So, Eric, if you can find someone else who's enthusiastic and wants to prove that for $200 that they can do it, bring them with.
I'm going to bring 200 cash, and I'll
Pay yourself.
make a bet to whoever I need to get them to get that out. No. We have the 10 commandments, and one of them is definitely do not shoot the moose any further than a couple hundred yards from the river.
Yeah.
Until the last.
They are so big.
Till the last couple
right,
days.
exactly.
Yeah, that was my dad's rule moose hunting in Canada. If we can't reach it from the boat, I am not letting you shoot that moose.
There's one up there.
You know what's funny? You know, Barrett helps you with all of your stuff, Jason. I am up on the Coteau River
I've heard this
in
story.
Alaska. I mean, so we fly into Fairbanks, then we take a little plane to Galena. From Galena, we take a boat 120 miles. We go down the Yukon, up the Koyukuk, and then up the Coteau River, and we drop our camp. And we're there for 10 days, and the weather is absolutely miserable. It rained every day, ruined half of our camera gear. And all of a sudden, this boat comes buzzing up the river, and they stop to talk to us. And who is it? Barrett Haugen from Bozeman, Montana. I'm like, I don't even see you in town.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're
There
up
he
here
is.
at the Arctic Circle, and we run into each other.
Yeah, I remember hearing that story from him. He was just as surprised to see you, I can promise.
Yeah, that was. I would have never dreamt that would happen, but that was a hard hunt. We had. It's one of.
It was for them too.
For us, we did everything we could, and it just sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah.
What do you do? Yeah. And then we have one good encounter, but we're down to one camera that's barely working and a DSLR. That's all we've got left. And the one encounter we have, We're waiting for him to get closer. And so the only footage we get is this bull barely walking through the trees 200 yards away. I think people figure we made that up or something. And like, no, really, we plan to kill that bull. We're just trying to figure out how are we going to film this thing because it's Alaska.
So as a camera guy, I got to know, how did you lose all that equipment? One disaster, like one bag in the river kind of thing, or multiple incidents?
Without incriminating a camera guy.
Hey, I've done it all, so you can't say anything I haven't done myself.
It's exhausting.
No memory card.
It is so exhausting up there because it seems like even in September, it's still a lot of daylight. And you're working your butt off, and these camera guys are downloading footage, doing everything at night. Well, one of the camera guys forgot and left his camera in the vestibule in his tent, and he had a tarp underneath the vestibule so that all the swamp water wouldn't come up. Well, he also had parts of the tarp sitting outside the tent, and it rained that night hard. And when he set the camera down there as he was going into his tent that night, all that water came to where the camera created a low spot. There's a $5,000 bill.
Jeez, yeah.
And it was our key camera. We had the SD card in there from that day.
Oh, man.
So for people who aren't filming, they're like, well, I don't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
But you, Jason,
I
you
appreciate
know exactly So that's what happened. And then we had another spare camera, and we just ran out of battery. Our battery just crapped and died. We when it starts getting colder, we brought, it's a spare, so it's not like we're going to bring a ton of batteries for it.
Yeah.
Well, of the 2 batteries, it had one went bad. And so you go out and film for about a half hour, and you're out of batteries. You would have to go back to camp and recharge batteries. So it's just... So I hope your hunt turns out better than that one, Eric. That was...
Now that we've built you up.
You're not filming.
Yeah. No, you'll probably show up. A big bull will be standing on the bank, and you'll just dump him right there.
Right when we land the plane, there'll be a couple just...
You got to wait.
There you go. Yeah, you got to wait till the next day. But you'll wake up that next morning, and a big one will come walking right by the tent. I hope. I hope that your 20-day moose hunt takes a day.
It'll be fun. Yeah.
So
that'll be awesome.
Thanks for the best wishes.
What do you got, Matt? You got any? Oh, you got Nevada elk.
Nevada muzzleloader. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
forgot about that.
Yeah.
That one.
So I drew the same tag unit last year for muzzleloader deer.
That's right.
So I got to spend 10 days in there in the backcountry. Saw a lot of elk.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll be there at the same time, but I've been there and I got to know some of the areas. So
that'll keep you away. That'd cause you to lose some sleep at night.
Yeah. And then last year we did our first annual whitetail deer hunt with some of my buddies.
Yeah.
Did a float in a remote area of central Montana for like 30 miles. So we're excited to go back, spend a couple more days this year, and now that we know some more stuff about the deer and where they hang out.
Cool. So in November, you guys float the river? Mm-hmm. What are you going to do if you get one of those stretches of 15 below?
Not go. There's other places to go.
That's the smart answer.
You got to watch the weather. So we've been trying to do it for 3 years. Last year was the first year we made it because of the weather. Yeah. Because we kind of want to go during the rut or right at the pre-rut. So
yeah. Well, the hunt I'm looking forward to most is I drew an Arizona rifle elk tag where I get to hunt them in the rut.
Oh, that'll be cool.
So I feel a little bit guilty about
they come running in, right?
using
when you call
a rifle in the rut, but not so guilty that I'm going to turn the tag back.
Nice. Have you been there before?
I've not been to that unit. I've hunted around it a lot, and I've driven by there many times. It's actually a really intense backcountry. We'll be up at about 11,000 feet.
Wow.
I've been told the elk will be between 9,500 and 11,000 feet.
Okay.
So
that's pretty high up.
Yeah. But I'm just excited because it's got a really cool conservation story. There's been a big burn in there.
Okay.
And what's happening is there are so many elk in there that the aspen regeneration is not occurring because the elk are just mowing it down. And so the Forest Service came to Game and Fish and said, can you guys open a season in here to push some of these elk off
during the
hunting season to give the regenerated aspen a break? Well, they'd done it as a cow season for the first couple of years, and people don't want to go into a place like that just to shoot a cow.
Yeah, for sure.
So they were just hunting the periphery of that backcountry area, and if anything, they were pushing them back in there. So they said, well, let's give some bull tags. I bet you that'll put some pressure in there. So I didn't tell the whole world about this until after application season. I only had 4 points.
I didn't get a heads up.
Yeah, I had 4 points. No, I'm sorry.
We could have done a group application.
Really?
7 points.
You got 7 points down there? Well,
next year.
Next year,
next year, yeah, you're like, let's combine combine 0 and 7. That makes 3.5.
No, I got 2. I went down there. I took their hunter ed class, so I got a point for that, and I've always got my loyalty point because I never miss a year. So, well, let's see. You got 7, I got 2. That's 9. They round up in Arizona to the nearest even number, so we'd have 5. If you're in, I'm in, man. Gosh, no,
Eric,
we shouldn't have brought this up yet.
It was just not
a neat
nearly
situation. That's a neat situation, though. Yeah, unique.
Yeah, it is. It's a conservation story I want to tell, where hunting is being used for a conservation purpose. You know what? We're not that far from places with a lot of activity, a lot of vehicle pressure, a lot of human hiking and stuff. So yeah, the elk are going to move away. And if there's not in those island ranges in Arizona, those are some of the lowest latitude aspen communities around. So they're highly valuable to a lot of different species. There's some there and there's some in New Mexico. And so if we can go in and if hunting can be used as a tool to help manage that and help it regenerate, I think that's a cool conservation story to try and tell.
Yeah.
That's great.
So,
For sure.
Stuff people don't think about what hunting does, beyond the obvious. There's just so much to help balance the entire ecosystem.
Yeah.
It's pretty, that is cool.
Do you know what other wildlife use those aspen trees?
There's a certain, there's actually grouse in there. One of the lowest latitude populations of blue grouse is in there that use it. Mule deer. The mule deer herds there have really been suffering. But they think this burn is going to help a lot. And so the mule deer are in there. They've got some unique squirrels. And when I go down in December, a friend has a tag for a late season hunt. We're going to go shoot some of those big
Kaibab squirrels or
whatever they are. They got big ears.
Yeah, the big tufts of hair.
Yeah.
They're like big. Yeah.
So there's a guy I met at a trade show. He works for Arizona Game and Fish. And he said, hey, I heard you were down. Did you go squirrel hunt? I'm like, no, I saw him. I'm like, boy, those things are huge. He's got as a lion hunter, Jason, you'll get a kick out of this. He has trained his dogs to track these squirrels and chase them up trees and retrieve them.
Wow.
So we're trying to coordinate schedules that if we get done with our elk hunt early, we're going to go hunt squirrels with a pack of hounds.
That would be something I've never seen. Yeah.
So
that's really cool.
That's the other thing we're going to do there. And
squirrel lair, I can see it in
squirrel
the
lair.
Squirrel lair, yeah.
Every squirrel nest marked.
The entire country is a squirrel lair.
Randy squirrel lair.
Squirrels.
So I lucked out, and with 0 points, I drew
a squirrel tag.
No, I drew Nevada archery mule deer. And I'm going to be right across the highway from where your elk hunt at. And you guys have on your layers all the drinkers, all the
guzzlers.
Eric, you raised your eyebrows like, oh.
No.
Do you want me telling them?
Oh, definitely.
That's another great partnership.
So in Nevada, if it weren't for artificial water sources, because and when you talk to biologists there, they talk about, we've got invasive weed species. We've got, whether you want to call it long-term drought or climate change, whatever term you want to put on it, the moisture patterns have changed. And now with pinyon juniper encroachment, the pinyon juniper are such water hogs. What used to be the traditional seasonal or permanent water sources that wildlife could rely upon are gone. There are so many places in Nevada that if it were not for man-made water sources, you wouldn't have bighorn sheep, you wouldn't have non-game species, you wouldn't have birds, you wouldn't have a lot of things because with these changes that have been occurring over the last 30 or 40 years, water is the critical piece there and it's disappearing. And through conservation, the group that really gets after it are the sheep hunting groups. That's why Nevada has been such an amazing conservation story from a sheep standpoint. But I know exactly where every one of these drinkers are, these trick tanks, they call them down there. And I've got them all marked, and that's where I'm going to be mule deer hunting, is where those are. Because, you know, there's all this range of habitat, but there's only so many places that have water. And a mule deer's not going to hike 10 miles to water every day or every other day. However, I don't know, I guess they'd probably have to water at least every other day, I think. But so
you're a smart hunter, Randy.
I do know the Mule Deer Foundation has been putting a lot of money in there as well as getting those guzzlers. And I mean, they're doing everything from helicoptering these things in. I mean, it takes a big project to make this happen. We're not, you know, just talking a couple guys go out and decide to put a kiddie pool out and put some water in it. This is big project, big money coming from hunting dollars, hunting organizations.
The largest scale one that I'm aware of is in Tusayan, Arizona on the south. If you come in through Williams, Arizona, going to the Grand Canyon, you go through Tusayan. And that sits on a big volcanic plateau where water just instantly dissipates down through that volcanic rock. So it's hard to have water sources that last very long. Well, the city of Tusayan, when their wastewater is done, it gets piped. The Elk Foundation and a bunch of other groups paid for 52 miles of piping to take all this treated wastewater. I mean, it's not like it's raw sewage. It's treated, but it's not yet, for some reason,
dumping it out.
Rather than just throwing it, it goes out to all these trick tank guzzler places. All over. So Unit 9 in Arizona, if you're, you know, you think about if you could be given one rifle elk tag or archery elk tag in North America, a lot of people would say, I want Unit 9 in Arizona. Well, the reason that the elk can sustain through drought periods there is because of this 52 miles of water. Again, you know, like you're saying, Jason, it's hunters are doing so many cool things across the landscape that nobody really knows about. And part of what I feel now is, especially with the YouTube channel where we can tell these stories, and we're going to tell this story when we're down there, is we got to start telling our own story. You know, you can't expect that people who don't do what we do are going to go and try to figure it out. It's our job to tell our own story. So that was one that I'm excited about trying to tell how that.
And with those guzzlers, our partnership with Endow, they give us that data. And then significant portion of all of our Nevada map sales go back to support that guzzler program.
Really?
Yeah. So that's not very cool. Not publicly known a lot, but all of our Nevada sales a portion goes back to build more guzzlers.
Yeah, because they have a special pool of money that you can actually, I think individuals could even make contributions to that. Well, they have a name for it. I can't remember what it is, but it's for their development of water sources. And so there's a lot of things out there in the landscape that really are stacked against native wildlife. And some of these fragile places, like you think Nevada, Utah, Arizona, and New Mexico, where you got non-native or feral horses.
That's
and
one thing that
that
needs to be figured out because it was bad last year there.
Really damaging water sources.
Wyoming too. There's areas.
Wyoming has problems with it. Colorado has Northwest Colorado, and so you got all that, and then you get cheatgrass, which creates
nothing to eat.
Yeah, nothing to eat. It just creates this crazy fire cycle that outcompetes and doesn't allow for native sage and other forbs to reestablish after a fire. And then you got pinyon juniper that we're not, you know, we've been suppressing fire and suppressing fire. So it's, and that's a water hog of the highest degree. So you think about native wildlife in these places, pretty hard for native wildlife to have a chance if man doesn't step in and say, hey, we're having a big impact here. Let's give something back. Let's do something to help offset.
One thing I think about is like David Allen, you know, he talks about not only keeping these lands public, but what are we going to do to manage them as we move forward? He said like that's a conversation that really needs to be had because, like you said, I mean, some of the wilderness areas in the United States are some of the most poorly managed pieces of property in the United States.
With invasive weeds and other stuff, there are wilderness areas that have some serious weed issues. How do you? Because you can't afford to non-mechanically treat weeds I mean, to send guys out there with sprayers or to manually pull them, that's impractical in some of the large landscapes where some of that stuff is happening. It's getting more complex every day.
It really is.
But
and
the Elk Foundation's been on the forefront of, like you said, as hunters and conservationists, the biggest thing we've done wrong is not be more proud of what we've done in the past and make sure people have known that for years.
Right.
So we're trying to take back that conversation.
Right.
And like with what I do with the Elk Foundation, a big part of that hunting is conservation series is starting from the square, the basis of conservation when it was first developed and going through the history of it and really trying to take back the conversation and say, look, we are the ones that started this, and we are the ones that have perpetuated it to here, and educate people to let them know that we are the driving force here. And I think part of that, this is my own opinion, but I think as a whole, our crowd of people is we're a proud type of person. We're not the squeaky wheel kind of people. We want to be recognized for what we do without having to go tell people that we did it.
Yeah.
And I think for so long, this generation of us being taught by our fathers to be humble and to work hard and keep your head down, we haven't bragged about it. We've just done it, and we've known we've done it. But now we've hit this wall where we absolutely have to take control of the conversation.
The time has come where you can no longer be the silent voice because your voice will not be heard. There's just too many people competing for airtime, for lack. I don't mean it in technical, like airtime on a podcast, but there's too many people competing for the attention of the listener.
Yeah.
And if we, like you said, if we don't say it, no one's going to say it for us. And
you do a really good job of that, Randy. I know this week you were sponsoring Facebook posts and pointing out articles about public land and sage grouse stuff is going on. And so it's great. There's just looking at the internet, I just see so much content and people bringing awareness to everybody. So
for me, that's, and I have a firm that helps me with my social media just because I'm technology impaired. Two, I'm on the road so much, but we have a schedule, and every week at least 2 of the posts have to be conservation oriented. It just, is
that important?
It is, because fortunately, all of my sponsors and partners share that. So when I say, hey, we're going to make 2 of these posts in a week about sage grouse or about elk or about, whatever it might be, public land or access, all of my partners are like, please do it. If that means we get dropped for one promotion this week, you'll make it up for us next week. So, and I like doing that. It's just kind of why I do what I do. So for me, it's an easy fit. And if you want to get your share of hate mail, just do that stuff, especially when it starts folding over into the political side.
Or draw a sheep tag.
Draw a sheep tag. Jason has found Jason has found a way to get hate mail without having to get into politics.
No, seriously, thank you guys both for starting to tell that story. That's really important to the future of hunting, really. So,
well, I appreciate it, and I we're going to wrap this up here. But Jason, we talked about how people can get the Project Elk, how they can watch that. How can they follow you or watch you? Or you're on Sportsman's channel like I am. What's your anchor airtime? I'm not going to jog your mind here and force you to have to remember your other airtimes, because I don't know what my other airtimes are. I know what my anchor slot is. What's it?
So we're on Monday nights, 9:30 Eastern time, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time, 7:30 Mountain time for us Westerners out here. And I'm on Facebook. I've got a personal page and a Jason Matzinger official Facebook page. I'm also on Instagram at Matzinger21. Okay. I've got a YouTube page, Jason Matzinger official YouTube. Yeah. And elknetwork.com. I know you're on the Elk Network too, so that's a good place to find a lot of my stuff in one place. Yeah. MOTV.com. They can find me there. Okay. But cool. The new stuff will be coming on Sportsman's channel every Monday night. Yeah. Yep. Okay. And you guys, where do we want to send everybody? onXmaps.com, right?
onXmaps.com and /hunts will get you to all the hunt content and stuff. Okay. Instagram, onX Hunt, Facebook.
So do you have
YouTube.
Twitter?
Yeah, Twitter.
I don't use Twitter that much.
I don't use it too much either, but I know the guys here in the background are pretty active on there.
You guys tweet a lot?
A little bit, yeah.
No, I don't. I'm not getting good at
a lot on
tweeting.
Instagram.
Yeah.
And you can always reach us
I'm
on
getting to like
Facebook.
Instagram way more than Facebook. Facebook.
I agree.
Facebook
I
has
agree.
so many. There must be some people who wake up in the morning and say, "I'm not happy till you're not happy." That's all I
Unfortunately,
can
probably
figure.
more people.
Facebook.
Yeah.
It's
Instagram's it's pretty
I mean,
positive.
that's got to be some people's motto.
Yeah.
You know, my theory is when you wake up in the morning, if you say it's going to be a good day or a bad day, you're probably right.
That's a good way to put it.
I get to decide if I'm going to have a good day or a bad day, but some people on Facebook, really, I think if they're not happy till you're not happy, and they will sit on your threads or on your posts and carry on to no end.
Yeah.
I used to worry about it. Now I just delete them.
I'm about the same way.
I want to have a positive conversation, and some of them will get in touch with me and say, "Well, how is it that you can delete me?"
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I own this page. That's how I can delete you. And
I don't like you.
Yeah, and you are negative. You are contrary. You're. I don't mind having an intellectual discussion or
Absolutely.
Varying points of view. But I think Facebook has gotten to the point where people it's where they go to grind their axes. And I'm not doing it anymore. What do you got here, man? Oh, a golden eye?
Yep.
What's up with that?
So I'm looking at this in my office for the last year.
So the podcast listeners can't see this, but those on YouTube see Matt is like the golden eye sleusher of the world.
Yes.
Is this a grader?
The official.
Okay. That is a big golden
Common
eye.
goldeneye. So been lucky enough to go on a couple hunts with Jason, golden eyes in Bozeman, and join some hunts. And I believe this is your first duck.
It is.
It is.
Jason shot this?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So-
How about that?
So
huh?
we got Dale Manning in Missoula.
That
if
is
anybody,
beautiful.
That
Dale
is
Manning's
amazing.
a really wonderful taxidermist in Missoula.
Look at that ice and the
so-
snow and everything
Yeah.
on that rock. That is bad.
Wow.
There you go,
Yes,
buddy.
Thank you, guys.
Put that in your
is-
office.
I know. See, I'm not a duck guy, but when I
Yeah.
shot this thing, they're like, "Oh my God, you don't even know what you just got here." And they
Cool.
that is awesome,
Yeah.
you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you very
No,
much.
Thank you.
Huh.
It's a really fun hunt. We decoy them in real close, and it's all in the ice, frozen rivers. Try to shoot the drakes only and pick out the nice ones. And
It's amazing how the purple, because when you look at a goldeneye in full plumage, a male, you see it goes from green to purple to blue to green to
they're really colorful.
If you put it in the sunlight, they're amazing
just
colors.
yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, thank you
yeah,
very much.
no,
That's really
awesome.
cool. Now I can look at it in my office.
I know.
That's what the deal was. I saw this goldeneye over here on
Just
the Mystery
it got
Ranch
unveiled.
table.
Yeah.
And since Jason and I both are partners at Mystery Ranch, I thought, well, maybe Mystery Ranch bought him something or something. Or we were going to be eating
I
goldeneye
packed this
snacks.
duck out in my mystery ranch pack.
I've packed some ducks out in my mystery ranch.
No, that's
God.
very nice of you guys. Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
no problem.
And it's such a fun hunt. You guys
Those are
have
fun.
opened my eyes to duck hunting. I mean, I've never really been a duck guy, you know,
Really?
and no.
Growing
You
up
get-
in the Gallatin Valley, you were not. Oh,
You get into it.
Let's just shut up. We're not telling
Yeah.
about the Gallatin Valley duck hunting.
Well, he was there in the heyday, probably when it was a little
was.
easier to get access.
Yeah, when you
and
could knock on
never
a farmer's
took the
door.
Never did. Never. It was just something.
Oh,
my
really?
family was big game hunters.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we never did get into the bird thing.
Well,
that is very cool. I
Matt,
mean,
last January, we were trying to plan a duck hunt
Yeah.
with all the onXmaps.
Yeah, let's do it
ambassadors.
this year.
Okay.
Let's do it.
But we got ATA show, we got SHOT show, we got.
Just got to put it on the calendar.
All right.
Whoever can come,
I'm in. Count me
come.
in.
So,
But don't
yeah.
laugh at my shooting.
What do you shoot?
Poorly.
Oh, you might need to go down a size.
a lot.
Yeah. I might bring a 410 or 28 gauge just so I have a built-in excuse. Wow. Yeah, that's, you 12 gauge, 10 gauge guys are sky blasting. You aren't giving me any chance here. But, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
But where were we? Oh, we're talking about how you can follow onXmaps. Facebook is
onX Hunt.
onX Hunt.
Yep.
Instagram is
onX Hunt.
okay.
YouTube, onX Hunt.
onX Hunt.
We'll have lots of new content there.
All right. So, see, you guys are
Yeah.
making this as easy as I try to. Randy, if you
Yeah.
can't use promo code Randy, well, you probably don't deserve
Yeah.
the discount you're going to
Yeah.
get at onXmaps. Right? What are you guys giving them? It's 20% on our promo code, right?
Yeah, let's do that.
Oh, what is
20%.
Oh, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. It has been
go with
20.
that.
No, it has been 20.
20%, yeah.
Okay. So,
Yep.
all right. So, and the website is onXmaps.com
Yep.
/hunt.
Yep.
Okay.
I'll get you right to the Hunt tab. Yeah.
Okay. And for me, you can find me, well, you've already found me if you're listening to this podcast or if you're watching it on our YouTube channel. And I try to make everything as easy as I can. We have this big Hunt Talk forum.
I would put a plug in for Hunt Talk.
Would you?
Yeah. There's lots of really great
Yeah.
content, and you can ask questions and get some good answers and
Yeah,
all kinds of
and
stuff
your
about
people
anything.
are really good about coming
on there
out
every day
and
reading.
answering questions. It's been really helpful because I don't always get into Hunt Talk when I'm on the road, and a lot of times people have questions. So hunttalk.com,
It's a great resource.
that's our forum. Our YouTube channel is Randy Newberg Hunter. Our official Facebook page is Randy Newberg Hunter. Our Instagram channel is Randy Newberg. Or is it a channel? What's it called? An Instagram handle?
Handle.
All
Yeah,
right.
I think it's
Randy
your handle.
Newberg. Okay, at Randy Newberg
So you made
Hunter.
it easy. Yeah.
Yeah. So Twitter, I don't even know what I am. I tweet so seldom that I don't know. I'm not a Tweety bird or whatever they call them. So.
Well,
Twitter.
some are.
And yeah, you can watch our TV show on Sportsman's Channel. We're on the night before Jason. We're on Sunday nights at 9 o'clock here in Montana. So I got to add 2 hours. That's 11 o'clock Eastern, right?
Yep.
And if you live on the West Coast, that's 8 o'clock.
Yep.
Correct.
So we time it to we always hope that Sunday night football doesn't go into overtime. If it goes into
Well, now we're
overtime,
Monday night football, so now there's Thursday night football.
Every
I think.
Thursday
right?
night.
It's
Yeah.
like, what do you do?
What are the
I mean,
odds?
if it's Saturday, you got college football. It's like, you know what?
Exactly.
If you want to watch us, either DVR it or do whatever, but you can find us on Sportsman Channel.
Yeah.
And
And also,
from there.
if you have a phone out, you can search for us in the app stores.
Right.
Test out the app for 7 days.
Wait,
Yep.
Okay, so let's talk about the app.
Yep.
So how does someone get the app?
So you can download it from the Google Play Store. So if you're on Android, you just open up your Play Store and search onX Hunt.
Okay. It's just the Google
And
Google
then,
store?
Yep. And then if you're on iTunes, you go to the.
Okay,
If you're on Apple, go to the iTunes
Okay.
store
All right.
and search onX Hunt there. You can download it.
It's free?
It's free to download. It's a free GPS, so it's like worth a free Garmin GPS. Really, you can
Yeah.
do tracks, waypoints, see all
You
the
hear
base
that,
maps.
folks?
So it's
A free app,
GPS,
which
it's all
there
the
you
free
go.
Garmin tools, and then you can buy map
I mean,
packages.
nothing
for your
against the
state.
good folks at Garmin, but
Yeah.
you know what? You don't have to spend $400 for a
It's
GPS.
like a free $400 GPS.
Yeah.
And you get maps for the whole U.S. with it and aerial imagery.
So it was worth their time to sit
Yep.
here and listen to us tell stories for
Yep.
the last hour and 45 minutes.
And then if you want to buy a state package, to get all the hunting layers and all the layers we were just talking about,
Yeah.
you can do that
Well,
too.
when they see these new layers that Jason and I and a bunch of your other ambassadors have had a chance to mess around with, they're going to be happy they did.
Yeah.
It's going to be the best, however much. I don't care if they buy the lowest end or the highest end. It is going to be the best money they spend for that hunt that year.
Yep.
I think about people who travel and hunt, and they spend $2,000, $3,000 on a self-guided package to do everything for an elk hunt.
For $100 for the elite package.
For $100, that $100 investment in the whole app system that you guys have is going to be worth more. That's going to be the best return they get of all of the money they spend on that hunt that year.
And all of your memberships now come with chip updates for free. So
really?
chip
So all these chips I got, I can
chips
plug them
used-
in?
Yep.
and-
Chips used to be like its own product. Now we just rolled those into the membership. It's one membership. You can update all your chips, view everything on your computer, view everything on your phone, keep your chips
I
updated.
learn something new every day, man. I need to hang out
You
with
get
you
two
more
for the
often.
two for the price two for the price of one now.
What a country. What a country. we
What a
live
country.
in, huh? Can you believe that? Really, though, I do.
Yeah.
I always say that, and people are like, what do you mean? I said, really, think about it. We live in the best place in the world. I don't care where you're at on the economic spectrum. If you were born in the United States, you live in the best country in the world. And, warts, bumps, and all.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that.
Warts, bumps.
Awesome.
No, and go take advantage of it. Where else do you have? I mean, we're looking at how many millions of acres of public land
land,
right out here that we
Yep.
can see from the Total Archery Challenge.
Blue skies.
Yeah.
Go
No smog.
do it. Go
Yeah.
be an American outdoors person and enjoy it and protect it and enhance it and
Just keep doing it.
Keep doing it.
Amen, Randy.
Eric thinks I'm going to get up here and start giving a sermon. Maybe I should.
You've done that before, right?
I have. So,
The Reverend.
oh man. Well, folks, thanks so much for listening. We're glad that the wind died down and that
And
the
the
guy
music,
on the
yeah.
bongo drums finally gave it up, and we only had one dog fight here in the tent. So, I don't know, Jason. Yeah, I'd be interested in your feedback. A lot of people think that at times I poke too much fun. Do you get people who say, you need to, I'm not here to listen to your humor. Give
No,
it
I
a-
think I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. I think I'm
Really?
too
You're a joke.
serious all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe we should just hunt together, and I'll be the comedy relief, and you'll be the guy who actually
Good cop,
shoots
bad
stuff.
cop.
Yeah. But no, I just approach life that, if it's that serious that you can't wake up and smile every day,
That's just it.
you might want to just pack it in.
No, I mean, I definitely wake like you. I mean, I feel lucky every day to wake up, and I've just seen too many people go through life with resentment and just never really having lived it all, And
Yeah.
what we have the opportunity to do every day, we get up out of bed, like you said, how you said it, like. If I decide it's going to be a good day or a bad day, that's how it's going to be. And
Right.
We're lucky. We're absolutely lucky to do what we get to do and live where we live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay positive on the social media.
Right.
Yeah.
No, thanks, Eric.
Yeah.
Thanks for saying that, because I see it all the time. People just want to pile on, and it's. I know it comes with being this kind of the anonymity that comes with, I'm just some handle on a forum, or I'm just a whatever on Facebook. It gets old. Use that time and effort to do something constructive or creative.
Yeah.
Or, beneficial.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a great point. I just worry if I would have said it, it wouldn't have maybe had as much impact as when you said it, Eric, because you see it. Jason and I kind of live it, but you get to see it. And if he and I were to say stuff like that, they'd be like, you just are thin-skinned, and you're just saying that because we're picking on you. No, I don't mind people picking on me. I just want to have a constructive conversation, a constructive effort where we're all working towards the same end.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
well, thanks for all the support, onX, Eric, Matt.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
I think
Thank you,
I
guys.
speak for Jason in saying that we all have some special partners we get to deal with in this industry, and you guys are special.
Well,
I
I'm excited
appreciate
to keep making some memories and do some more hunts. So
That's
yeah,
the
it's been
plan.
fun.
Thanks for the duck.
Yeah.
This thing brings back
The duck.
memories. Sitting here
Cool.
staring at it. It was cold that day too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
The colder, the
Randy. I
better.
appreciate it.
Well, everyone, thanks
Thank
for
you.
listening. Until the next time, have fun, smile, and go and do some hunting. Take care.